This feels like kind of a downer subject, but it's one that all of us will have to confront at some point. After all, you're not a machine, I'm assuming. Sooner or later, someone you love will pass away, and you'll be left with a hole in your heart, wondering how to keep moving forward. So that's actually where I am right now. My mother just died after living with a cruel, debilitating disease that drastically reduced her quality of life over the past 3 years. And the world feels different now that she's gone. This was the woman that bought me my first drum set and let me set it up in her living room. She signed me up for piano lessons as a little kid, sent me to summer writing camps, allowed me to drop out of school to go on the road with a rock band, but made sure I got my GED and went to college for music. Every step of the way, she was there cheering me on, and now she's gone. If I were a religious person, I might find comfort in the idea that she's still there somehow, cheering me on in spirit. But since I don't believe that, I have to make sense of it another way. But what happens when we lose someone who feels so integral, so connected to our creativity? It can cause us to question why we're doing any of this to begin with. Were you being creative for that person's approval? Did you think they loved you more when you were successful? As a parent, I know that when something good happens for my kids, I want to celebrate with them. I'm happy for them. But I would hate to think that they're doing these things in order to get my approval or affection. Still, I used to love to share my victories with my mom, and I'd like to think that the reason that I wanted to share them was because I knew it would make her feel good. Because I felt good, and I wanted to share that feeling with her. Not that it would gain me affection, but it's complicated, right? I mean, like I said, we're not machines. We all have egos. And so as I step back and realize that when the next great thing happens for me, I will have the impulse to call her and share that with her. Does knowing that I can't do that anymore demotivate me? I hope not. I know that she wouldn't want that. Here's what I think. If you've lost someone, even if you don't feel this kind of connection I'm describing with my mom, if you lost one of your people, you're going to have to grieve. It takes time. With this podcast, I felt like I don't know what to do. I wanted to keep going, but every episode idea felt wrong, which is why I decided to talk about loss and talk about my mom, because I thought just pushing yourself forward and pushing these feelings away isn't sustainable in the long run. You can't just ignore it and pretend everything's fine and go on with business as usual. At the same time, you have to realize that the person you lost wouldn't have wanted you to stop. A few years ago, I read a book by Susan Cain called Bittersweet, which I'll link to in the description. This book had a huge impact on how I think about my emotions, especially sorrow. In fact, I'm actually going to reread it now because I think I need it. The book itself isn't just for creative people, but it touches on creativity and talks about how artists are more prone to sorrow and mood disorders, which I can sense your disbelief. Shocking, right? But also that there are these benefits to experiencing sadness, that embracing these feelings that we think of as negative emotions can actually lead to more focus on details, improved memory, and make us generally more attentive. So as a creative person, you are more vulnerable to sorrow, but you also stand to gain more from it. And I'm not saying that true art only comes from pain or anything like that, but that as sensitive beings, we have a way of making sense of what we're feeling that leads us to a better understanding of ourselves and the world. That doesn't mean that you need sorrow to do your work, but that the full human experience is open to you. And so why wouldn't you use it? Which is really why I'm making this episode, and why the next time I sit down to the piano, I'll probably still be thinking of her. And maybe I won't feel like composing right away, but eventually I will, and her memory will be there waiting for me. Instead of trying to ignore it, I'm going to lean into it and let it guide me. You should do the same. If you've lost someone, what is some way you can encapsulate something about them? Your art can serve as a place to put those feelings. I'll leave you with this quote from Bittersweet that I love. It's not that pain equals art. It's that creativity has the power to look pain in the eye and to decide to turn it into something better. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep the flow.